Okay, so let's talk about this full moon. So it's happening on Monday. Let me see what time. Monday at around 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And earlier that day, I am hosting a wonderful masterclass if you're interested in it. It's called Levitate. And we'll be doing a lot of work around this full moon. Hello, Amber. And so that's happening on Monday. And if you're interested in that course, just message me and I will give you the infos for that. It is, if you're already in Divine Alchemy, it comes with it. But if you wanted to just check out Levitate, it's going to be a deep dive into the energies of this time period because they're massive. So we're looking back. This is a graduation. This is a graduation of the time period that we've been in since March 13th, 2021. So whenever we come to this full moon point, it's a culmination point and a kind of a graduation. Things that we started at that new moon will be completed, or the what I believe, like the karma from that new moon gets kind of pulls up to us at this full moon. And the most important message that came through with this full moon is that many of us are learning even more. Like we had maybe even trusted ourselves before this time period, but this is like the graduation of like, wow, I've come so far, and what other places in my life do I need to trust myself? So you can look at your own life, you can think about this question and see if it resonates with you and where you're at. Because we are at the first quarter moon today, Sagittarius will create that first quarter square in Sagittarius to the Virgo sun. It creates this little square, and that's the first like action point where the new moon intentions that you set, hopefully you took some time. If not, it's okay. You can still do that. Set some intentions for yourself in the area where Virgo is. And really see if you can take any actionable steps this week before the full moon. I talked about in my private course how the Pisces full moon, if you haven't been preparing for it, can take you down. Not in a negative way, but down to the depths of the ocean, down to the deepest subconscious, either sabotaging that you've been doing without being aware of it, places where you've been in denial or delusional, and your health, your mental health, your spiritual health, and your physical health. Hello, if you're just joining me. So we're talking about the full moon that's happening next Monday and how today is really a turning point in that. So whatever kind of, especially as Mars is in the critical degree of Virgo, and Mars rules our body, we really want to be tending to our body, our mental space, and our spiritual spaces this week to prepare for this full moon in Pisces. Now, if you have planets around 28 degrees of any of the mutables, but especially Pisces or Virgo, which many of you do, you're going to be feeling this more, right? And so it's a really important time to do those self-care practices and trust that you know what you need. Trust that the decisions that you're making are in highest alignment for your highest good. Hello, if you're just joining me. Hi, Meredith. Hi, Yasmin. Hi, Janice. So we're talking about this full moon and trusting yourself. You're growing. You're going to be shown areas, especially wherever your Pisces house is. So your Pisces house, especially the end degrees of Pisces, is where you need to celebrate yourself. You've come so far. There are places where you didn't trust yourself, where now is the opportunity to build those trust muscles for yourself. And this deep wisdom, it's kind of like, you know, how an acorn seed becomes a huge oak tree. That doesn't just happen overnight, right? It takes time. And some of the work that you were doing in early March of this past year, 2021, is coming into fruition now. And it's really important to see how far you've come, because if we're just focusing on what we didn't do or how far we haven't come or what isn't working, then we're amplifying that into our life. So really look back, really celebrate how far you've come since that time period. Join me for Levitate. It's happening on Monday. It's 1/11. It is a deep activation of wherever you're needing to do this inner work to trust yourself, but also to rise above any of the things that have held you back. A lot of the self-sabotaging behaviors, things like that, it's going to be an activation. There's certain codes that we're going to activate because this full moon is massive and it's happening right at the equinox time period. We move into the equinox, the fall equinox, which is a rebalancing point. It's a recalibration point, and it's massive, especially because Mercury is in Libra and is going to go retrograde at the end of the month. So we really, not to be like this, but we really want to prepare for this. We really want to be doing the inner work, because this fall, just the astrology on its own is very intense, and we can't avoid it. There's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to run. So you might as well do the work. So join me Monday. If you message me, I'll send you the link for that. Like I said, it's 111 and it's a group activation. And when we're doing this work together, it's really amplifying it even more. And so definitely reach out if you're interested in that. Even if you're not, do your own ritual, do your own magic around this full moon, because it's really important, again, to celebrate how far you've come and look at your mind, body, spirit, and ways that you can tend to those areas this week. Prioritize that above all else. There's nothing, excuse me, I got really excited. There's nothing that's more important than those things this week, really, or any other time. So, yeah, so I don't know what you're talking about, Jeremy. Detriment in the sign of Taurus. I don't think your Mars isn't in Taurus. Your Mars is in Libra. That's why I was saying you're having a Mars return. Okay, so with this full moon, we're looking at your emotional life, your imaginative life, your dream life. So you might be wanting to write down, keep a dream journal by your bed, write down your dreams this next week, for the next 8 days, because there's going to be things coming through your subconscious mind. Pisces is the bottom of the ocean. Neptune is the god of the ocean. Neptune's the one god that I've had a visceral experience with, and that's why this Levitate is such a powerful course, because that's the one, Neptune is the one planet that I feel really at home with. Hi, if you're just joining me. So if you really want to get that activation, it's okay. So if you really want to get that activation, join me Monday and just send me, if you want the link, I'll send it to you. So, okay, I want to go over some things. This is really, Neptune is retrograde right now. So when an outer planet that has to do with our outer society, like this kind of at the periphery, when it goes retrograde, it's internalized. It's where is the work working for you in your subconscious mind. So when it's retrograde and it's going to be conjunct, it's at 21 degrees and the full moon's at 28 degrees. So it's conjunct. It's kind of a wide conjunction. Some astrologers wouldn't count it. I count it also because it was conjunct at the new moon in Pisces. It's really an important focal point for this whole time period. We're looking at a larger cycle with Neptune. Neptune is only in Pisces. The last time it was in Pisces was 165 years ago. And when we're looking at this transit, it's from 2011 to 2026. So we only really have, if you're looking at this transit overall, we're really past the halfway point, and we only have a couple more years with it in Pisces. The time period of Neptune in Pisces is all about us remembering our spiritual life, remembering our connection to Source. Hello, if you're just joining me. Remembering who we truly are and all the non-self energies that keep us from being that. It's about a spiritual awakening, and that's why in many prophecies, this time period was marked as the end times. But what that really means is the end of an era and the birth of a new era. And so many people call this New Earth or call it different things, but basically we're going through a massive awakening period. And this is why, for some people that I work with that are really worried about the world and what's happening out there, what I like to remind us is to keep focusing in here, keep doing the work in here, because for some of us, it has to get really bad in order to have that awakening process. For some of us, it has to get externally so chaotic that there is an intrinsic flip-on switch to like, oh, wait. And for some of us, we had this awakening at a very, younger time period in our life, or there's other situations, accidents, traumas, certain things that happened to us that had us going through this awakening period earlier. Or we just had certain planets in our 12th house, like different things for different people, different strokes for different folks. And we just have to trust and be in that knowing that this is all happening for a purpose. And the more that you can keep doing your inner work and trusting yourself and fortifying and being like that acorn that needs to shoot its roots all the way down to the earth to grow into that beautiful oak tree, the more you're doing that, the more that you're going to be a leader and a helper with those people that needed it to get really, 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 really bad in the external world in order to awaken. So hold strong. You're doing so beautifully. Life is always happening for us, but if we're focusing on the external world and the things that are wrong, we're literally just amplifying those things in our world, right? And the Neptune in Pisces is not about that. The Neptune in Pisces is about going within. Obviously, we've had that coming through. So what are your divine gifts that you're awakening to? What's coming through at this time? What dreams, memories, deja vus, synchronicities, psychic visions, premonitions are coming through for you at this time? What gives you the chills? What makes you light up? These are the things that you're wanting to focus on at this time. Pisces, it rules the deepest realm of our subconscious mind. And it's also the part of us that knows at the deepest core level that we're all one, that there is no other, that we are in this together, and that any kind of internal work that we individually do, because we're all connected, it uplifts everyone. So if you want to join me for Levitate, it's happening next Monday at the full moon in celebration of the full moon and the equinox. We're really going to be amplifying how to rise above and stay the mother effing course. So if you want that activation, reach out to me. And if you're already in Divine Alchemy, you have access to that course, okay? So we are looking back at the time period of March 13th, and this is a graduation point now as we move to Monday. And the full moon will be at 28 degrees of Pisces. So look at where that is in your chart. The other interesting transit, there's a ton happening in the astrology. And I don't want to get too wordy with it. So I'm going to just tell you about one other thing happening. But most importantly is tending to your mind, body, and spirit this week leading up to this full moon. Because otherwise it can catch you off guard. And since Pisces brings out the people that haven't been doing their work and might be at a critical kind of stage with it, it's a good full moon to stay close to home. It's a good full moon to just not be out driving with all the drunk drivers, just staying close to home. This is also true because it is the sun is conjunct Mars newly in Libra. So it's just a good one to do the things close to home. Not necessarily be out partying downtown. I wouldn't recommend that anywhere, no matter what your downtown is. But it's Monday, so hopefully most people will be home. Okay, so the other chance that I want to talk about is Saturn retrograde. So there's a lot of planets retrograde right now. A lot of the social planets are retrograde right now, which is why you can tell there's just this it's an internal time. Everybody's turning inward towards as we're getting closer to this fall equinox, which happens next week as well. This turn inward happens. And so Saturn retrograde is trining Mars newly in Libra, which is also trining the North Node in the last little bit of Gemini, which for the North Node is the 3rd degree. North Node goes backwards through the signs. And Black Moon, Lilith, and Ceres and the North Node are all conjunct each other. That conjunction that probably a lot of other astrologers aren't talking about is massive. When we have our Dharma point where we're being led collectively together, when our Dharma point is conjunct the goddess of abundance and loss, and Black Moon Lilith, which has to do with things that have been repressed or depersonalized, which is a dangerous thing because we need to embody all that we are, right? When we've kind of shoved aside certain parts of ourselves, that lack of integration can cause upset in the outer world. So wherever you can do the integration work, the trusting yourself, and really looking at where you've been living or acting from your shadow, from your saboteur, all of those things, because this time period will not have it. It will come to the surface. With a full moon in Pisces, everything is illuminated from the deepest parts of the ocean. And that's why I say, do the work now to take care of your mind, body, and spirit, so that you're not taken down into the ocean. You're allowing things to come up because you're at peace with them, because you've already done that deeper work. So wherever you haven't, now's the time to dive into it. And so that is your invitation also to join us Monday for Levitate, because we're going to be diving down and bringing up so that we can rise above all of this BS. So really trusting yourself, doing the things that are going to tend to your mind, body, and spirit this week. And know that this full moon means business. And it's right at the time of fall equinox, which is a recalibration point. So things that have been out of balance, things where you have not been in balance, can feel really crazy, because you're going to be shown the other side of that. So whatever you can do to calibrate yourself to balance and bring in the influences that you haven't felt like you had the time to, you haven't felt like you have been able to, those are the things that you want to really lean into this week. If you have any questions about this full moon, reach out to me. You can message me here on Instagram, or click the link in my profile and send me a message there. I think that's all I wanted to say about this full moon. Basically, you're growing. I'm so proud of you, all of you. Trust yourself, lean in wherever you're still lacking that trust for self. Lean into that place and celebrate how far you've come since March 13th, 2021, because you've come so far. So you need to celebrate that. Love you all. Mwah. Reach out if you're interested in working with me or Divine Alchemy. If you're in Divine Alchemy, you get access to Levitate. If you're not in Divine Alchemy, you can register separately for Levitate. And that is what I'm most excited about this fall, doing that group work together, because that's when the work really gets amplified and we get to gather at a time when so many people are isolated. So if you're interested in that, reach out.